Airbnb is killing our housing market. Airbnb is driving up rents. Airbnb is the reason you can't find a place to live. This is the narrative that we hear over and over and over again. But what if I told you that it's just not true? I'm Cole with the Vancouver Life Real Estate Group, and today we're going to take a long, hard look at what's happening in New York City, a place that cracked down on Airbnb 2 years ago, and see what lessons we can learn here in Vancouver. So, here's what happened. In 2023, New York rolled out one of the toughest short-term rental laws in North America, known as Local Law 18. Lawmakers promised two things. One, that noisy Airbnb parties would virtually disappear. And two, housing would become more affordable because tens of thousands of short-term rentals would then be converted into long-term rents. And yes, they got rid of a lot of Airbnbs. Tens and thousands of listings vanished basically overnight. Hotels loved it. Their occupancy went up and their nightly rates went up with them. Neighbors loved it too. The partying complaints definitely dwindled after a bunch of these Airbnbs were banned. But did rents drop? Did vacancies open up? Did housing become more affordable? Nope. In fact, the opposite happened. Rents in Manhattan hit an all-time high of $4,700 a month, and vacancy rates dropped to historic lows. Experts quoted in the Wall Street Journal in an article that came out just last week said flat out that the crackdown had no material impact on making rents more affordable at all. At the start of 2023, New York had right around 38,500 Airbnb units. Sounds big, right? But remember, this is out of more than 1 million rental units in the city. That's barely a drop in the bucket. And not all of those came back to the long-term market. Some of them switched to 30 days plus rentals. Some of them rented them out to family members, and some of them just kept them empty. Meanwhile, the bigger issues, a lack of new construction, overwhelming demand, and restrictive zoning policies pushed housing prices up further and further. So let's be honest, Airbnb was never the core problem. Banning it just gave politicians a scapegoat while hotels cashed in. And that's exactly who benefited from New York's Airbnb crackdown: hotels. Hotel room prices jumped to over $300 a night, with occupancy rates soaring. The hotel union even spent millions lobbying for stricter Airbnb laws because less Airbnb meant more money for them. So instead of magically creating more affordable housing, this Airbnb ban actually just pushed more people into hotels for higher rates. Now, why does this matter for Vancouver? Because our city is facing the exact same conversation. Every year, the city of Vancouver brings in harsher restrictions for short-term rentals. But if killing Airbnb in New York City didn't work, why would it work here? A lot of Vancouver's housing challenges are driven by the same root issues. Not enough supply being built, slow permitting and rezoning, and an immense amount of demand to live here. Airbnb makes an easy headline, but the data shows that removing short-term rentals doesn't move the needle on housing affordability. Here's something else to think about. We fought so hard for Uber here in Vancouver. It took us years, longer than most major cities, to adopt Uber. But look where we are now. Both Uber and taxi companies are thriving side by side. Both of them can operate. So why are we so against Airbnb? Isn't it essentially the same debate? Airbnb takes the money out of large corporations, hotels, and places it into Canadian homeowners. Just like when Uber first started, it allowed regular people to make their own money instead of leaving it all to large taxi corporations. We didn't ban Uber. We found a way to fairly regulate it, and now consumers have more choices, better pricing, and better service. Why wouldn't Airbnb be treated the same way? Now, let's talk about the future, specifically the 2026 World Cup. New York is already bracing for it. Their own city council is debating loosening short-term rental restrictions because they know when that flood of people comes into the city, the hotels cannot handle it alone. And here in Vancouver, we're hosting games too. Now picture this. Someone from Kelowna, Maple Ridge, Chilliwack wants to come into the city to watch a game. And now they're forced to pay either thousands of dollars to stay in a hotel room, if they can even find one, or what? There is no or, because Airbnb is so restricted. Airbnb provides flexibility, affordability, and availability during major events. Take that away and local Canadians and visitors both lose. There's also a human side to this. For many hosts, Airbnb is how they pay their mortgage. Shutting them down doesn't fix affordability. It just makes life harder for homeowners and renters alike. So here's the takeaway. New York banned Airbnb. Housing didn't get more affordable, and rents did not get cheaper. Hotel rates got higher. The lesson for Vancouver here is pretty clear. Airbnb is not the villain. The real issue is supply. We need more housing, faster approvals, and way better planning. So instead of blaming Airbnb, let's focus on the real solutions. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Vancouver should follow New York's path, or should we take a different approach? Let's talk about it.